Good day, this is Jimmy. Been working on a K5 Blazer 1970 model. This is part of a series that we're running. But today we're going to cover something. We're going to cover it real thorough. It's called handmade patch panels that we're going to put on the bed side of this old K5 Blazer. It would also work on a C10, C15, something like that. If you got an old truck and the bottom of that bed is rotted out and you need to make a patch panel for it, you want to make that thing out of something thick enough to where you don't have to fool with it again. There's a technique to do it. There's a correct technique to make that panel and a correct technique to make a great install. But it's going to take some old time tricks, some old time skill, and we're going to give it all to you today through this video, step by step. Patch panel. Stick around.
Gonna add a little extra material on the edges for flange material, but take a look at the back side of this panel. How much good would you have done just patching the outside with little tacks and welds? The damage is extensive. That's why we're making this large patch. Alright, I'm laying it on this 16 gauge metal. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a line around it, and I'm also going to allow for that little fold I got going on right here on the end. So I'm going to push it up just a little bit. But the actual piece is making a great template. We're going to make this line, and then I'm going to add something, which will be a little trick I'll have to show you as soon as I make this main line. The trick that I'm talking about is two sides of this plate right here is going to be pleated and underneath the main body of the bed, so we can get a good weld and it'll be nice and clean on the back side. Going to add about 3/4, maybe somewhere between a 1/2 inch and 3/4 onto what our original template is for that very pleating. Let's do that.
Alright, I hadn't quite cleaned this plate up yet, but I'm fixing to show you a little hack that's going to help you out. I don't even like using that word hack, but you can build this plate and get it all ready and get it all fitted and bend and fold the wrong ends if you're not careful. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure we're exactly where we got our cuts, exactly where our fold is going to be. There's going to be a pleat on the top. So we'll say pleat down here.
The back edge here will also be pleated, so I'm going to mark that.
You say, well, I remember all that. Yeah. If you're not careful, you'll make one for the other side. The main thing we want to do is, this is top. This is for the right side. We're going to bend the edge. We're going to flange the corners. But first we're going to make the roll.
All right, there's our mark for the top side. There will also be a flange on the edge. That flange should be turned inward, not toward the top, but inward. The flange, we're going to go and put it about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. And in order to get a nice crease, a nice line, as we draw this line, before we begin to crease, we will take our cutting wheel on our grinder and we'll put a small indention. We're not going to go very deep, but we're going to crease that metal to give it a place for an intentional fold with the cutting wheel. Now remember, we're using 16 gauge metal, which will give us enough thickness to go on and give this a little bit of persuasion with this crease. This is an old school trick I use on door skins and a lot of different things, so I can get that to crease in the exact spot I want it to with hand tools, because we got a curb in it. And in order to make it around that curb and to keep that line straight and crisp, we're going to give it a little persuasion with this crease. All right, now for beginning on the roll. Some of you are familiar with my brake, but I have a piece of pipe I'm going to clamp to the back of the brake. The brake is made with 1/2-inch angle iron, so it's a good stiff format to be working with. But as I clamp that piece of pipe to the back side of it, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm creating a pipe bender to get a round crease. The bottom of that panel has a very sharp curl in the beginning, and it fades on out. But we're going to begin with that bottom roll by applying some pressure, sliding it in this brake on this old pipe. All right, now this right here is an old school trick. We did this back before they invented all those machines to do all that shrinking and stretching. We would make relief cuts to bring that metal around the corner, weld it back up, grind it out, make it work. Seems like I kind of got out of the camera right here a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I've got a crescent wrench and I'm slowly bending it down just a little bit at a time, walking back and forth down the top of that lip, bringing it down to that edge. As you see right there, that line that I put in there to break the stress of that roll is making me a nice crisp line to go by. Gonna bring it down just enough to where I can take a dolly and dolly it on out so we can weld those relief cuts up, make all that happen. Now this is what I was talking about. This is what a dolly looks like. We're going to do the hammer-on dolly technique to roll the edge and bring it back around. And now this is what those stress relief cuts were for, to make that corner in that dollying. We'll weld them up and make it happen. All right, this is what we got. Now we got two edges we want to pleat. Remember, we kept those about 3/4 of an inch long. That pleater is going to drop that shoulder down to where it be up under the plate that we're installing it in, so we can get a level, two plates level, and run the beads down there, create a whole lot less work and actually add strength to it. And the back side would look real nice, and that's usually a place you cannot even get to. Hey, got my patch panel laid in here. Gonna pull it in with some Clecos in the morning. Weld it in place. I want to hang my door first. Hey, there's a little something to that patch panel, isn't it? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.